just loosen up a bit. Politika ito. There are a lot of people pushing me to run for vice president. It's a good idea, I think. Particularly if we talk about the drug problem. Until now, billion, araw-araw billion ang, hindi na million, billion na ang inanuli. Well, I'm scared. I'm not worried, I'm scared for the next generation. Marami pang iba na hindi ko nagawa. I promised about 4 things. Corruption, I'm doing it. I'm firing people left and right. Sa gobyerno. Then I promised criminality. I think that medyo bumaba na ang crimes against the people. Ang isa pa yung droga at yung, well, with others itong to pursue other infrastructure projects. Yun ang naiwanan ko. Hindi ko magawa at hindi ko na kontrolado. But maybe being a vice president would be good.
As members of PDP Laban push President Duterte to run for vice president in 2022, the chief executive says that's actually a good idea. Human rights lawyer Chel Diokno announces that he's running in the 2022 elections. The One Hospital Command Center is disputing claims that ICUs in Metro Manila are at full capacity. But the Private Hospitals Association says some ICUs in Metro Manila are indeed at full capacity, though not because of COVID-19 patients. And Gilas Pilipinas beats the buzzer to score a win against South Korea in the FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. President Rodrigo Duterte changes his tune about possibly running as vice president in next year's polls. In a speech last night, Duterte said it might be a good idea for him to go after the vice presidency after admitting that he under-delivered on his campaign promises. The president said he could use more time to eradicate drugs and corruption in the Philippines. Duterte had previously said that he's resisting calls for him to run as vice president because he didn't want to appear like he's extending his stay in power. Now Duterte is reflecting on his next move, although he also doubts whether he will be able to do as much as vice president.
Pero anong vice president wala yan? It's just a flower there until the other wilt. Ngayon, meron din akong isang hanhabol ko itong pandemic, pero that would be taken care of the next president.
Another barrier to Duterte's possible candidacy is his commitment to support House Majority Leader Martin Romualdez should the latter run for vice president. Duterte recalled having to mediate between lawmakers Alan Peter Cayetano and Lord Alan Velasco when they went toe-to-toe for the House speakership. The president revealed that a third contender could have made the scuffle a lot worse had he failed to appease Romualdez.
Maybe being a vice president would be good, except that there were jockeying the positions. The problem is there was a serious contender also for the speakership, si Congressman Romualdez. Kaya ang deal ko sa kanya ganito, huwag ka na lang maghabol dyan. The next election, which is just around the corner, if you run for vice president, I will support you. And I will hold on that commitment.
Human rights lawyer and staunch drug war critic Chel Diokno says he's not yet closing his doors to running for the presidency in 2022. Diokno had earlier confirmed that he will surely run in next year's polls after failing to secure a senatorial seat back in 2019. He also said he wasn't planning on going after the highest position in government. But speaking to 1PH's Wagpo, Diokno said nothing is off the table just yet. Diokno's early confirmation of his plans for 2022 comes while other potential bets remain coy about their own plans.
Sa akin kasi, prangkaan na tayo, di ba? Kung ganun, I would rather put my cards on the table. At ganun ang personality ko, kaya yun ang nangyari. But siguro sila may sarili-sarili din silang sabihin natin agenda o game plan o strategy. Makikita na lang natin yan sa mga darating na buwan.
Meanwhile, Senator Frank Drilon told the chiefs that he is personally open to supporting an opposition bet who is not from the Liberal Party. Citing the need to draw strong alliances, Drilon said the LP would study the program of other candidates should Vice President Leni Robredo choose not to run.
Non-negotiable is our support for Leni Robredo. I don't know what else would, that's because he's our candidate. Certainly, we are open to alliances if Leni Robredo decides not to run. Yes, Lucy. I cannot speak for the party. I'm just the vice chairman. But certainly, I will put in my voice, my opinion, that indeed we should be open to alliances.
In other news, the One Hospital Command Center is disputing claims that intensive care units in Metro Manila are packed. Speaking with the chiefs, OHC Operations Manager Bernadette Velasco said that ICU bed capacity in the NCR only ranges from 44 to 52% over the past week.
For the last 7 days, we're just seeing a 44% to 52% ICU occupancy. So meaning to say, we're just in the low risk level. Okay. In the ICU occupancy. Same as with the non-COVID ICU beds, we're just seeing 50 to 54%. So this is for the last 7 days. Unlike the surge, during the surge, it really spiked into the critical or high risk to critical risk.
However, in a separate interview, Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines President Jose de Grano confirmed that ICUs in some big hospitals are now at full capacity. But de Grano explained that most of these patients are not suffering from COVID-19.
The COVID cases in the NCR area has gone down. And they are saying that some of the ICU beds are still full. But when we ask some of the big hospitals, they're saying that they are full, but mostly for non-COVID cases.
Vaccination for the A5 group, or the indigent community, is now in full swing. However, vaccine supply still remains an issue. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro gives us a front seat to the story.
As a public school teacher, Christina Bulak says getting herself vaccinated is a chance to teach others about being responsible during the pandemic.
Kailangan kami rin yung maging role model para at least yung mga parents ng pupils namin maging responsable rin.
On Wednesday, the vaccination drive expanded to the A5 category, or the poorer members of the population. A valid government ID, a certificate of indigency, and a confirmatory text were the requirements for A5 in San Juan City. To qualify, one must be on the list of indigents under the National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction. But the City of Manila was more lenient.
The fact po na tayo ay residente ng Baseco, syempre, hindi mo naman sasabihin mayaman yan, di ba?
More than 7,700 doses for the indigent group were rolled out in 8 different sites in Manila on Wednesday. The local government plans to roll out a total of 74,000 doses exclusively for A5.
Sobrang importante po kasi hindi lang po protection for myself and for my family rin.
But not everyone who came were sure to get the jab. In the A5 vaccination site in the Manila Port area, informal settlers lined up as early as 2 a.m. But 800 port workers were suddenly given priority. So those who were first in line were automatically sent to the back.
Gets naman namin na mauuna siguro yung mga trabahador nila. Pero sana, sinabihan kami ng mas maaga. Kasi maaga rin naman kami pumili.
The Manila LGU has been criticized for its walk-in vaccination program, which has caused overcrowding and forced many to wait up to 10 hours before getting vaccinated, assuming they get lucky. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno asks for patience and understanding, saying rollouts are most efficient with walk-ins. Moreno says he will consider an appointment-based rollout once more vaccines become available. I'm Jacob Lazaro and we are One News.
The health department says LGUs are given leeway to implement applicable vaccination strategies in their respective communities. However, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere reminded local executives to enforce alternative vaccination strategies in the event that existing methods do not work. In an interview with The Big Story, Vergere recommended that LGUs impose proper scheduling and master listing to avoid exposure and unnecessary crowding at vaccination sites.
Because of the scarcity of our supplies, it would be best if we can do the scheduling so that people, kahit 2 months pa lang from now, ang kanilang schedule, alam nila kung kailan sila babakunahan. At so let me just remind our local governments na let's strictly enforce our minimum health standards. Napaka-fragile po ng ating sitwasyon ngayon at ito po mga ganitong klase ng mga activities at nagiging resulta ng ating activities might lead to super spreader events.
The interagency task force has finally allowed the reopening of gyms in the NCR Plus bubble. But some people believe that this move was a little too late. Mobile journalist Pamela Vazquez gives us a front seat to the story.
At this gym in Quezon City, every day starts with a rush of activity. Gym staff get down on hands and knees, sweeping, scrubbing, wiping, and spraying every last piece of equipment. After more than a year of being in limbo, staff are ecstatic they can finally go back to work.
Masaya naman kasi kahit pa paano makakapag-operate na kami ulit. May pangtusok sa araw-araw.
This branch has been closed since March this year. They have since lost 70% of their active members.
Our industry is based on people count. As much as possible, they have to be present here in the gym for our business to continue.
They survived because of rent concessions. Staff had to be placed on unpaid leave during the extended lockdown, so many turned to other sidelines.
Mahilig ako sa photography. Ginawa ko na siyang sideline.
According to Trade Secretary Mon Lopez, some 22,000 displaced workers should be able to get their jobs back now that the IATF has loosened restrictions. Gyms, fitness centers, and other non-contact sports facilities in NCR Plus are allowed to accommodate up to 30% capacity as long as they have the safety seals. In order to get a seal, establishments must show there's good ventilation inside and that they uphold basic safety protocols.
Ito po ay isang paraan para mabigyan at mabalik ang kumpiyansa ng ating mga kababayan, mga customers.
At the same time, Lopez has asked the IATF to consider letting gyms without safety seals reopen now and apply for the safety seal later.
We're assuring public and our members that we'll still comply with that. Even there's already an announcement that we can operate without having it.
It's a ray of hope for the fitness industry. Unfortunately, there are also many gyms around the country who couldn't wait for this day anymore. Just like this one behind me, which permanently shut down in 2020, unable to sustain the business due to the repeated lockdowns. I'm Pamela Vazquez, and we are One News.
And in case you missed it, Gilas Pilipinas finally shook off the infamous Korean curse by staging an epic comeback in last night's FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers matchup. The youth-laden Gilas team climbed out of a 17-point deficit and put up a buzzer-beating free to emerge victorious 81-78. SJ Bilangel, notably the smallest man on the court, took the game-winning shot from beyond the arc, replicating the legendary 2013 win of their Gilas Kuyas. Since then, it's been 5-0 against Korea, who threatened to make it 6-0 last night. But Coach Tab Baldwin and his gutsy crew had other plans.
It's exciting. I mean, it's a shame that we didn't have 20,000 people in MOA watching that. But you know what we did have? We had a country behind us, and we could feel that, and we could feel how much the country wanted something positive. And I think we were all extremely proud to be able to bring them something surprising, but to be able to bring them something that's going to make Filipinos all around the world happy. And it's a great moment for Filipino basketball.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for free account at www.signalplay.com. Stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.